Hello, and I apologize for stopping the video. However, it's come to my attention that less than 50% of the people that watch my videos do not subscribe. And it would be really good if you could tick like, and it would be even better if you could give me some kind of comment or feedback and let me know whether or not you're interested in my content. Okay, the other thing that I want to mention is that I spend 6 months in India working with adepts. Now, I'm very lucky to be able to do this because essentially a lot of the adepts that I work with tend to work with Indians and teachers, and they're very picky about who they have. So the course is called Mastering the Hidden Arts course. It's $450 for 7 modules. If you wish to attend the course, contact me by email at demonfish1@yahoo.com. Thank you for listening, and namaste. This is program 2 on how to perform candle magic and activate your intentions. If you have not watched program 1, I suggest you watch it first, as it gives links to information given in this program. Let's start with petitioning. After a person has found stillness using the Kumamadi meditation technique and connected with their higher energies, this is the time to bring your candle burning intention into consciousness so that you can meld it with the candle, the correct astronomical influence, with the correct deity for the task that you are going to set. I'm going to explain how I do this. How do I activate the energies or the entities or spirits which are connected by the flame through to our dimension of living? Well, obviously, the time of day, the astronomical alignment, that's really important because as the flame is flickering, that's an indication as to whether the entity is arriving or not, or has arrived. The color of the wax pulls the entity to it. So, just a quick recap, we have to have the day, the hour, the entity, the color, and the correct intention. What type of spirit do I choose? In general, I choose a spirit that allows me to attain higher states of consciousness, especially during meditation. However, if I'm healing, I will petition the correct spirit for assistance in helping me obtain the goal that I want for the client. There is another use that we can use for candles, which is to appease an entity or just quite simply to say thank you. Quite often during our days, we have something quite miraculous happen, something that we cannot explain. I would say take a note of that hour, and when you find that hour, it's really important to thank the spirit of that hour. So lighting the correct candle in reverence to the spirit is really important. We see it in church all the time. If you go to a high Catholic church, you'll see many people lighting candles. Of course, over the many years, the reason why they like candles is almost fogged. But in reality, I mean, the Catholic Church is a very good example because they have many saints that represents essentially the angels and demons and entities. So in the old days, you would light a candle for a certain time for an astronomical alignment. Anyway, that's how it was done. So that is something to remember, that it's not always about asking for this, that, and the other. Quite often, it's about saying thank you. Now, before performing a candle ritual, once again, I'm going to use the church as an example. People would go to church and they would kneel on the altar, or they would kneel in a pew, and they would focus their mind on what they wanted. They would then choose their saint and light the candle. Well, it's exactly the same for yourselves. You focus your mind, you understand what spirit entity that you are going to use, and then you solely concentrate on your petition. And you focus like a laser beam. This is paramount, because if you do not isolate your desire with the correct petition, then essentially what you're doing will not work. Now, some people, especially when they're doing a love ritual, will light a candle for another person. It's really prudent to get permission to light a candle for another person. Otherwise, essentially, you're cursing them. If you think about it, okay, you've seen your latest love interest and you light a candle and you want them to come into your life. This is going against a person's free will. And of course, if you're going against a person's free will, then you're breaking the laws of magic and witchcraft and summoning. So technically, you are cursing. Now, the other thing that I'll say about cursing is that if you do decide to curse using candles, I wouldn't advise any form of cursing. It comes back, and it comes back with a vengeance. So in reality, if somebody has hurt you, then I think it's much better to let that moment pass. Maybe even send love to the person that has hurt you. I'm not saying be passive, I'm just saying send love. And then you carry on with your life. I think that's really important. Now, the other thing as well is people say, "Oh, my candle magic is not working." Well, why is it not working? If you haven't got a strong enough petition, if you haven't contacted the right entity or spirit, then that's not really going to work. The other thing as well with magic is you also need some kind of physical contribution. You know, for example, you can't sort of sit there and say, "Oh, today I want to make thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds," and then promptly go back to bed and just fall to sleep. Well, you know, magic in my experience doesn't work that way. Where if you work towards obtaining thousands and thousands of pounds, the entities that you will use will help you. There's that old saying, God helps them who helps themselves. So, with all that aside, how do I do a ritual or a spell using candles? Firstly, I memorize by heart my spells and affirmation and deity's name. I then black out the altar area. I will sit on a comfy chair or sofa or whatever's around, and then I concentrate on activating my third eye. The easiest way I find to activate the third eye is to contact the energies above you, visualize it as a ball of light, feel it enter your head, and then feel it go into the third eye. You can literally feel like a kind of numb pain. Then what I do is once I have that numb pain in my third eye, I will count slowly backwards to about 70. And usually by the time I've done that, the third eye is really quite painful. As well as controlling my breath, I control my body. So essentially, I relax all the muscles as I am breathing. When I am totally relaxed, I then light the candle, uttering my intention. This part of the ritual is really important because the ignition of the flame calls the entity. As soon as the flame forms, I go gaze. As soon as the flame forms, I gaze into the oval shape of the flame. I concentrate on the bright white area of the flame. I keep gazing into the white spot, probably for a period of 10 minutes, or until I feel that I've made a connection with the spirit or entity. I don't blink my eyes when I'm gazing into the flame. When you start off, you'll probably notice that your eyes hurt and go all watery. It's a really, it can be quite a nasty sensation, but when you practice enough, it will go off. Yeah. So, and you'll be able to look at the flame without blinking. Now, being in this state, breathing slowly, staring at the flame, I start to go into a kind of half sleep. This is the state of theta consciousness, and at this point, I recite the spells and affirmation that I have learnt by heart before the ritual. Now, the length of the ritual, it must be really carried out for about half an hour, because under that, it's a little bit like throwing dirt on the wall. You've got to throw a lot of dirt for something to stick, and it's the same with any ritual and affirmation, that you have to really concentrate and give it the time to make sure that you connect properly with the entity. Hello, and I apologize for stopping the video. However, it's come to my attention that less than 50% of the people that watch my videos do not subscribe. And it would be really good if you could tick like, and it would be even better if you could give me some kind of comment or feedback and let me know whether or not you're interested in my content. Okay, the other thing that I want to mention is that I spend 6 months in India working with adepts. Now, I'm very lucky to be able to do this because essentially a lot of the adepts that I work with tend to work with Indians and teachers, and they're very picky about who they have. So the course is called Mastering the Hidden Arts course. It's $450 for 7 modules. If you wish to attend the course, contact me by email at demonfish1@yahoo.com. Thank you for listening, and namaste.